Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. Happy Wednesday. Nope, sorry, it's Thursday. Just kidding. Happy Thursday to you and your family. We're taking a look, of course, here at BNB, helping you understand best practice and big picture for obvious reasons. But what we're going to look at is standard Fibonacci retracement levels, if we have, what an invalidation might look like for BNB, and just big picture if, the trade that we took recently is still in good shape. I personally feel like it is, but again, we want to look at the details and kind of reanalyze, because being a good analyst is effectively taking the data and consistently evaluating it, not necessarily going on just one day of a few weeks ago, right? Again, things always change. It's completely dynamic, and we got to kind of move with it and roll with it. So again, we can see we got a red market here. Not the greatest, but we're going to figure it out together, okay? So again, if you're new to the channel, you want to become a better trader, CryptoCash.tech is a site. I've actually got a trading community, academy, and signal group where we all learn and grow together. We just took 133% profit on our signal here recently in about 72 hours for Ethereum. And then what else did we do? We also have, 55% on Bitcoin in roughly 2 days. So again, taking some decent profits. It's not going to be monstrous by any stretch. Don't get me wrong, those are great profits, but on the same accord, 10, 20, 30x, all that stuff is just, that's crazy nonsensical. Make sure you don't listen to folks that tell you that XRP is going to be worth $1 billion in a couple of years. There's a certain method to being a good trader, and it is definitely not listening to everyone. Develop your own risk tolerance and your own strategy. Either way, these are just things that kind of come with my community if you want to join. We've got amazing traders as well. They're all doing very good, and I'm just super, super proud of them. So again, keep with the great work, and if you want to benefit from my prize pool, use my link in the description below for Bitget. I have a $10,000 prize pool monthly. Really awesome, kind of easy money there. You have a profit loss ratio, a trading volume essentially, and then the top 4 trading volume essentially gets $1,000 a piece too. So it's really, really cool. Be sure to check that out in your own time. So here's the thing with BNB. It's fairly strong compared to Bitcoin, but also struggling recently when Bitcoin and other coins were doing well. So what that really tells us is the fact that it's still kind of moving independent in its own way, which is, in my opinion, more positive. Okay, so again, really just implies that we're probably going to see something along these lines here again in the relative near future, once the traditional markets have a way of standardizing themselves. In other words, if we can stay in the 17,000 range for Bitcoin, I think BNB is going to take off. As you can see, this is what BNB did when Bitcoin was doing a whole heck of a lot more. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. See, BNB is down here and Bitcoin is up here. Okay. Now a lot of that comes in the sense that BNB has already had its increase, right? So it already kind of is priced in, for lack of better terms. So a lot of times you can't expect a coin that's already overextended to overextend itself again when Bitcoin decides it wants to pull its head out of its ass. All right. So again, it's one of those things that you just kind of got to roll with. But generally speaking, this one is kind of priming itself for the next pump. And a lot of times coins will do that. So again, it's just the simple fact that it's still doing well, contrary to Bitcoin, even though it didn't do phenomenal and we're seeing a sell-off today. Everything is selling off today. Okay, it's a very, very normal thing. Let's look at some of the positive here. We got RSI at 50, still holding. That is positive absolutely as well. I like to see that. That's one of my main check marks on my list, is to ensure that price is above that level, still implying that we're bullish. You could argue that it's dipping below, but it's not, because the one-day candlestick hasn't closed yet. That's why you wait for confirmation. So we wait for today to close, and we get a close above 292. I think we're going to be in decent shape to see an increase. Again, hypothetically, that's what should happen. Does it always happen that way? No. Bitcoin has another bad day, BNB will follow suit. Even though it is, it isn't 100% aligned with Bitcoin, it's still recently aligned itself with it. And you've got to recognize that. So again, that's kind of where we're at there. The MACD is starting to diverge. We're not there yet, but it's still losing its momentum. Makes perfect sense considering we've had roughly 5, for lack of better terms, red days, right? Even though the last couple of days were green, they weren't as green as they should have been. Okay, so again, not fantastic, not terrible, mostly positive in the sense that we're above the moving averages. Let's take a look at this here as well. The 50 is holding the price action in place. We've got the 200 and the 20 traveling below. This to me is a very positive sign. Not a lot of coins can still say that they are holding themselves above those levels, especially all 3. Bitcoin just barely broke above the 20, and it's still pending on the 50 and the 200. BNB has been trending above those for roughly a week now, if not more, and essentially showing us good strength. Okay, so again, I wouldn't be super concerned with that. I think BNB still, big picture, is a great investment in the overall sense of things. Should be considered in your HODL portfolio. To me, I'm heavy on Bitcoin, Ethereum. a little bit of BNB, and of course, a small bag of XRP on the side. But generally speaking, you should try to make sure you accumulate as much Bitcoin Ethereum as possible. But I think BNB is also another one that would, suffice to say, hold very strong. And the reason why, to keep this in mind, like when it comes to exchanges and you're concerned about regulation, BNB has Binance has Binance.us, all right? And they also have regular Binance. That kind of reaffirms that they are very serious about regulation and they're doing well. I think they have long-term potential to stick around. They're probably going to be one of those exchanges that we won't see disappear. Hardly ever. Or probably never. Well, you never truly know. All right, anyways, 4 hour. Let's go ahead and take a look here, see what's going on. We're under 50 on the RSI on the 4 hour. That pretty much just implies that we are still bearish on the midterm. And to me, midterm is just kind of a middle time frame telling us, we're transition from bullish to bearish is happening, okay? Now, we haven't confirmed yet, but it definitely looks like it wants to continue to stay in this range here. It's kind of range bound between 292 and 302, okay? That little $10 difference. We are seeing somewhat of a double bottom pattern, but I guess it's a bit of a stretch. I like to see those in larger time frames. I don't like to see and identify patterns on shorter time frames, but the 4 hour is still relevant. Okay, so keep in mind, be careful, seeing like a double bottom on the 1 minute. That doesn't matter, honestly. Pendant patterns, the whole 9 yards, they become stronger as the time frame increases. So 4 hour is still relevant, just not necessarily 100%. So again, there is possibility that we could very well see the price action continue higher based on that sentiment, because we've seen a decent amount of support here at 292. But again, you retest that level so many times, it's going to break to the downside too. That could eventually work as a resistance. We are seeing somewhat of a MACD divergence here as well. I'm not super concerned with it just based on the overall sense here. What I'm really looking for is a daily closure above 292. That would, to me, would give us confirmation that we're able to stay and maintain above that level. Preferably a price point higher, but if we close below 292, there's a moderate chance we'll see 284 retested and potentially establish a new lower low. Okay. Again, we're not there yet, but that's essentially what we're looking at. Let's see what the 1 hour tells us, because that's going to translate into the 4 hour and help us understand roughly where we're at. So the 1 hour, if we see here, we're about 6 hours into this continuation pattern, and most of the time when you see a 9, you'll see the price action turn itself around. So hypothetically, we've got about 3 or 4 more hours. Coincidentally, that's roughly how much longer the actual trading day is open for in traditional markets. So in turn, we could very well see this continue to push down a little further and see another recovery. But there's no doubt we are seeing lower lows for the most part, and definitely lower highs. Okay, so this is really just kind of telling us that we are definitely trending downwards and that we have this bearish type of momentum. But again, you do this for so long, the likelihood of recovery is greater, right? So we could very well see that recover. So I think a lot of this has to do with Bitcoin doing poorly today. As you can see here, the price action was staying in this channel for some time, and then Bitcoin opens up poorly on the market today, and of course the market goes down for BNB. So generally speaking, if Bitcoin were to recover and just say hold its price point at the 17,000 range, we get a closure above 17,000 today from Bitcoin. That could give us confirmation that we're moving up, and that would give Binance coin, BNB, essentially an opportunity to increase from there. But for right now, there's no doubt that this is mostly bearish. Let's see what the Ichimoku cloud is telling us. We can see that we have lagging span is free and clear of the price action now. Conversion line is below the baseline, and we're below the cloud. So again, when we are range bound like this, it's not super relevant, but now that it's made its decision, so to speak, we want to respect the fact that a short position would be much more viable than a long right now. But on the same accord, we don't have confirmation yet either, right? So again, there's two different sides of the story if you want to take a look at that. But generally speaking, we have mostly bearish sentiment on the hourly and the 4 hourly, whereas the daily is still holding. So until we lose 50 on the RSI on the daily, I'm still confident BNB will hold and maintain itself. Because once again, this just makes sense considering the circumstantial situation that we're in, where BNB was doing very good before Bitcoin sold off. Bitcoin sold off, BNB held its price, and now Bitcoin is increasing and BNB is going sideways. So again, it's one of those interesting things where it's just kind of averaging itself out, and I think there's a stronger likelihood with further consolidation we'll see an increase from here, but we want to make sure to kind of hold off and wait for a little while. So I'd recommend just kind of stay on the sidelines if you're considering a trade with BNB. It hasn't confirmed its bottom yet, but it does look like it's working towards a double type of bottom, and the likelihood of an increase from here I think is higher. But again, it's literally like a 55% probability the price goes up versus 45% probability goes down. And that's what trading is all about. And analyzing charts is understanding the statistical probability of either direction. That's all we're doing. So since the probability isn't great in either direction, to me, that's a case in point where you stay on the sidelines and you wait. Okay. Again, the price could shoot up here in an hour and we missed our opportunity. That happens sometimes. But again, there's always a risk involved as well, and you can mitigate that risk with good risk tolerance and using your own strategy. Those are things I help you develop in my trading academy. So make sure to check that out. Watch that if you're currently a community member. Try not to be stubborn and say that you can't learn from anybody. It's okay to try to learn and be open to everything and adapt and create your own, right? I'm just a combination of hundreds of different traders that I've learned from. Right? A lot of it's trial and error, but most of it is just a good foundation of listening to the right people. Okay? So again, who's to say I'm right? You never truly know. I've been wrong plenty of times in my life, but I do have a pretty high, trading rate, and I can confidently say that I'm a good trader, and it's okay if you don't think so. All right? So I hope that you have learned something here today. Thank you so much for joining me. We'll look forward to seeing you in the next one. We'll take care. Thank you.